ladies and gentlemen, I'm introducing you to my guest, Joshua, who is on his incredible path of healing. Please tell us about yourself. How are you doing? How is your natural healing going? Aloha everyone, it's RawCoconutGirl here. Magdalena, aka RawCoconutGirl. I'm Regenerative Detoxification Specialist and Iridologist. And I'm here today with a surprise for each and every one of you. Aloha, Joshua. So how are you today? How is everything?
I'm doing quite well.
Well, thank you for being here today. But I still have more questions that I would like to ask you before we jump into like spirituality that we won't stop talking about later on.
Yes, go ahead.
Because it's so exciting. I love talking about spiritual stuff. They're so, wow, it's just mind blown. Your 3 valuable inspirational quotes.
Inspirational quotes.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
Give me some inspiration here.
Oh man, I'm not always good at off the top of my head quotes, but the first one that comes to mind, let me see if I can remember all of it. It was from Thich Nhat Hanh. He was a Vietnamese monk, and he said, "Breathing in, I calm my body. Breathing out, I smile. Here in this present moment, I know this is a wonderful moment." That's the...
Beautiful, I love it. You said literally 3 things. And I asked about 3. And you put in 1, but it was, wow. No, it's beautiful. Wow. So it means, I understood it that way. You live now, think what is happening right now. Don't dive in too much into the future and in your past. Don't focus on your past, just focus on what's now, right? And live now. And
yeah, so Thich Nhat Hanh was all about this present moment. So he would talk about following the breath. And you know, you might get this in a yoga class, you might get this in a qigong class, you might get this kind of instruction. And it's as simple as being with your body, being with your breath, and being very present with what's right here, and finding that stillness in your center. And you know,
but what would you suggest to people who can't do that? You know, because a lot of people have difficulties to keep that awareness, keep that all 3 things at the same time on your mind, and you just cruise around your thoughts and you take any other thought in front of your sight, instead of just put your ego behind for a little while and just rest.
During a detoxification process, especially, this kind of stuff can come up. Your nerves, I think your nerves get frazzled. You know, we're pulling acids out of the cells, and things are circulating in the blood. Things are moving in the body, and sometimes that energy can get intense. And what does it do? It creates a frazzled or monkey mind thoughts, like all this racing or anxiety, or even for some, like, brings up some deep traumas. And if you get into a trauma response, or you get into this place where you feel like you can't shut your mind off, you
run. It's
yeah.
Yeah.
When
adrenal glands are crying.
You feel like, oh no, I can't sit still. I can't focus on my breath. I can't find peace. I can't even enjoy my smile. Like, how do I do that right now? I feel like I'm falling apart, you know? And at that point, I feel like for a lot of people, it's worth seeking support. reach out to someone.
Mhm.
If you need to get words out, maybe it's not time to sit still and breathe and try to be quiet until you've had your say with someone, or you have a way to really like express yourself. Because oftentimes if we're in a container by ourselves, we're alone, we're detoxing, we're trying to do it all on our own or something like that, and we're miserable. And I have found quite a few times when I reached out to my detox specialist or others who were of that kind of support, that they could bring me back to a place of equilibrium, where I was like not so mentally spun out, not so emotionally spun out.
Mhm.
So it's important to reach for support if you have the mind to, if you can even think of doing that. If you have a strong will, actually try to sit down and breathe. And at first it may not do anything for you, but the deeper you get into breathing and the more deep breaths you take, the more relaxed you'll get, even if it feels impossible at first.
Mhm.
So if you
And
have that,
did you experience that at the beginning when I was starting my journey and I was learning how to breathe correctly with using that solar plexus here, this area? That was interesting because first time when I took a breath so deep, I actually felt pain. I felt in pain, so much pain after breathing that air here deep inside. And I was wondering if you ever experienced that as well, because the more you expand something, maybe the more, you feel like you are actually very congested in that area because you never breathe that way. And once I did that, I felt like extreme pain in this area. Like I felt like there is a hard rock surface here in this area that it was like, when it was hard to touch. And after a while, what did you say?
Like a knot?
Yeah, yes, like a chakra, like stiff, like whoa. And now after doing this regularly, I noticed that it disappeared, it's gone. But it was so much here hidden that I'm happy that I released that. So you explained it that perfectly, saying that it releases everything, and it helps you to.
Yes.
Mhm.
When I was first injured, I couldn't breathe on my own. My lungs had pretty much collapsed because my brain wasn't able to give them the proper signals in the nervous system. So I was on an artificial.
This,
It's tough. I was on an artificial respirator, so this machine was breathing for me, and sometimes it wasn't breathing fast enough for me. I was like struggling to get more breath than the machine could give.
Wow.
Even though I was even on oxygen. And I was inspired by a book. A friend of mine came to the ICU and he brought a book with him, and he was reading to me about another person who had been injured and how he had practiced breathing. And so I think I had asked the nurses somehow. I was using a letterboard to communicate because I couldn't speak. And they took me off the respirator for about 20 minutes to a half hour a day, the respiratory therapist. And at that time, I just practiced breathing the whole time, and I could not breathe without thinking about it. I had to stay focused on my breathing constantly. I had to think about every single breath. If I didn't think about my breath, if I didn't focus on my breath, my body wouldn't breathe on its own. But I had just enough nerve strength to pull air into my lungs, and they would get really tired. And this went on for a while, but after about a week, my lungs were strengthened enough that I was starting to breathe on my own. They kept me on a respirator most of the time, all the way to the hospital in Denver. And then they had these special machines that they would stretch my lungs with at that hospital. And I had a tracheotomy, so I had a tube in my throat to help me breathe easier, a little less distance between my lungs and my windpipe. And what I learned when I got to the hospital in Denver was that because of the injury, my autonomic nervous system was helping my lower lungs function in the belly area, but the upper lungs were so weak that they were barely functioning. So I became a default belly breather just by the nature of the injury. It's the only inverted action in the body. Everything's paralyzed from the neck down, but the lungs are paralyzed at the top half.
Wow, what a combination.
So I started practicing some breathing. There was a therapist there, and the respiratory therapist encouraged me. And I was at a high altitude. I think that kind of forces the body into breathing and using more oxygen, you know, because Denver is a mile high above sea level. But when I was sent home to Michigan for several years, I sort of just kind of lapsed into kind of a not much of breathing practice, you know. But there was a point where I started getting Thai massage with a Thai massage therapist, and one of his things.
Oh, good. I'm happy you.
Yeah, I love Thai massage. One of his things was deep breathing. And so a lot of his massage was deep muscle compression. And he would say, breathe, breathe. Every single compression, breathe. Through the whole thing, he would keep me breathing and tell me to breathe deep. I discovered deep breathing through massage, this massage style. And I loved it so much that I hired his wife, who was a breathwork therapist, to teach me breathwork.
So good.
And I spent almost a year doing breathwork with her and expanding my lungs. And I never experienced the pain you're speaking of, but I did experience a resistance in my body sometimes, like, oh, I don't want to breathe right now. I just don't want to breathe right now. But I would push through it and push through it and push through it. And it's amazing. And I would recommend it for any quadriplegic or paraplegic or anybody with a spinal cord injury, anyone really. If you can't run, if you can't swim, to really get your heart rate up and get your lungs expanded, try the deep breathing exercises. But Wim Hof or whoever.
Yeah, who could you recommend? I'm not talking here about names and recommendation by name, but mostly what specific, specialist would you recommend for deep breathing exercises and the Thai massage? Does it have to be, we all know that some of them have no idea about lymphatic system, about how the lymph nodes work. They don't even know where they are correctly, in a correct way, right? Like Dr. Morse teaches us. I'm just wondering who you specifically would suggest.
I wish I could give a specific suggestion as to who. The people I worked with, I need to research to remember all their qualifications. But respiratory therapy, like the deep breathing practices are pretty, they're pretty hands-off. That they don't involve lymphatic massage unless someone kind of mixes them together somehow. As far as the Thai massage, I actually don't know in terms of recommending someone, but the particular person that
that's just the qualifications.
So someone who has studied with a really skilled teacher who's been in a quality tradition, someone who's worked at it for a while. I believe the fellow who worked on me, he had been practicing for over 20 years, and he had gone to Thailand and had a teacher there that had been in a long tradition. So I would say look for experience and look for quality. You can gauge by the first experience almost if it's right for you. This fellow who worked with me, I would highly recommend. And his name is Christopher. I'm forgetting his last name at the moment. What I could do is give you the information later. You can put links below the video or something like that. Yeah, I wish I could be more specific with that, but it's not coming
okay, no worries. We can always add it. It's nothing to worry about. I can always link it as well, send a link, so it's all good. Was there something that disappoints you on this path?
I've had brief moments of disappointment and it's also brought up doubts in not having seen the depth of regeneration that I want to see in my body. However, I still am not satisfied that I've gone the full distance. So I'm still into exploring and discovering how far and how deep I can go with that. So if there's any disappointment, it's only been temporary in that specific area.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. What's your favorite fruit to detox with?
Okay. It depends on what I'm focusing on, but there are a couple. Grapes,
Oh, yeah, there is a grape season now.
watermelons,
Mm, even better.
and all citrus fruits.
Okay.
Those three being some of the strongest pullers, some of the most nutritious. I would say those are the three, actually. Started out doing a lot of those, and they've had powerful effects in different areas.
And how your, day looks like? What do you eat? How do you start your day? How much do you drink? Do you drink any water? How much juice do you drink and stuff like that? If you could just put it in, just use one day, for example, right?
Yeah, I almost always start a day with an herbal medicinal tea.
Mm-hmm.
And just before I say the rest, I'm going to say that not everybody can do what I do.
Of course.
It's different for different people, but I go to juices after that, and I go seasonally. Right now it's watermelon season, and the grapes are coming in. So on an all fruit day, I'll basically do anywhere between 2 to 4 jars, 18-ounce jars of watermelon juice, and
How many jars?
4
Four.
approximately.
Okay.
And
You start a day full watermelon juice fully.
yeah, sometimes I will do a whole day like that. But lately the pattern's kind of been, an herbal tea in the morning, juice most of the day, sometime toward late afternoon or the evening. I will either have a large mono fruit meal like grapes or uh, watermelon, or, well, I haven't had papaya in a while, but that would be an example.
I would
uh,
send some. I would send some papayas for you because they're all the time in season here. So I.
so in general, I do best on liquids all day and one meal in the evening. And
Okay, and if you eat watermelon for breakfast, do you feel difference between juicing watermelon instead of eating it whole?
yes, I feel more bloated. I feel more full.
Same here.
And
So we all have similar experiences.
yeah, with watermelon, yes.
Yes. Sorry for interrupting you, but once you eat a lot of juicy fruits, don't you have that feeling that you don't really want to drink too much juices because you eat a whole fruit that is juicy already, right?
Yes, yes. Uh, when I get in, you're asking if once I drink a lot of juices, I feel like eating more whole fruit.
More like if you eat whole fruit,
Uh-huh.
that is juicy. If you still miss juicing and you still keep it going with 4 glasses of juices, or you just keep it low and then you focus on whole fruit when you have a day that you eat your whole fruit.
I still find myself desiring more liquids, even after a meal.
Okay, so
Yeah, even after a meal of fruit, depending on how juicy it is. If it's bananas, I'll definitely want to drink more liquids.
Oh, bananas! Yeah, I was giving myself a lot of pleasure recently by feeding myself with dates because I love the taste of it, and I haven't had them for like maybe 2 years or so, and all of a sudden my body started craving them. Like I needed to eat them, and that's why I'm asking. And I didn't need water. I didn't need to even drink, water from fruits, right? That's what I'm talking about. I didn't even need any fruit or juicy fruit or juices, even though I ate very dehydrated fruit. Yeah, that's interesting too, that once you hydrate your body, the body is so strong, right? And it keeps all the fluids inside, so you can really, last longer.
I don't drink a lot of water anymore. I'll have a little here and there when I feel thirsty enough and there's nothing else.
Okay,
but,
yeah.
I generally go for the juices, or sometimes I'll do, here in Florida we have these things, they're called sour oranges. So it's like a lemon, but it's a sour orange. And we have a spring near here, so I get spring water and I'll mix that with sour orange juice and a little maple syrup, and I'll have a drink like that as well.
So you're fully on fruits all the time?
No, actually not. I've gone in cycles lately. Over the winter, during the colder months, I mean, it's not that cold in Florida, but a little colder, I was eating a large salad every day for a while. And as summer came on and it got hotter and hotter, that just became less and less. And here and there lately, I've had like some steamed broccoli. I've had small salads. I'll chew on celery sometimes, things like that. But in general, my diet's mostly fruit. Yeah.
So I have maybe like 3, 4 more questions for you if you're not tired yet.
Nope, not tired yet.
Okay. I just would like to jump, take one more juice for me because
Sure.
I'm hungry. You know, when you're on
Yes.
a fast, you need to like all the time sip on your juice. All right, got it. What's in your salad?
When it comes to salad, I try to keep the dressing minimal. And there are times when I've done nothing but like sour orange or lemon juice and a few spices or something.
Yeah, this is so good. I'm happy you're talking about the fruit putting into the salad because they're still working on the level of lemon, right? Or
Yes.
lime. So you still can put your citruses in the salad. That's a nice salad dressing.
Yeah.
And you just mix orange and lemon together or just orange and
one or the other or both, depending on how I feel that day. And sometimes I'll throw a little bit of like cayenne pepper in there if I want some heat. I notice that I will crave heat sometimes, even when it's hot out. I crave the hot herbs.
I like arugula.
Yeah.
Do you like arugula?
I do. I can only handle a certain amount at a time. I can't eat too much at once. It gets very strong.
It does, yes. That's true.
My favorite salads, basically, I mostly go for the tender leafy greens. So I have a huge pile of tender leafy greens of all sorts, spinach and so on. And tomatoes are controversial, but I love local tomatoes.
Well, if you have yellow tomatoes, they're still fruit veggie, so I wouldn't mind, you know. Plus, you eat a lot of fruit, so your body can handle it easily. Yeah.
Yes, and cucumbers, peppers. And really, I make my salads pretty simple most of the time. I like to put some alfalfa sprouts in there. But
do you grow your own alfalfa sprouts or you buy them?
I have in the past. Lately, I buy them because we have so many farmers markets here, and there's several people that are selling lots of sprouts. So it's just been easier to do that than to grow my own, just because of the physical effort involved. But yeah, I generally like to keep the salads pretty simple. 5 ingredients, 6 ingredients is fine. I once in a while have some root veggies like carrots or beet or something, but it's not really my favorite thing.
Yeah, they're pretty hard to digest. I mean, I feel different when I eat them too. And what my husband noticed when he eats carrot in the salad, we eat salads very rare, but we still do. And then once he eats his salad with carrots or beet, he's getting like toothache, always the same tooth hurting him. So what we discovered that these root veggies, they are really tough, they're really hard if it comes to the texture, and they're really maybe not meant to be in our mouth even, that once you try that fruitarian lifestyle or leafy greens and something that it's soft and it's like easy to chew on, then it's harder for us to switch to something more difficult like beets or carrots.
Yeah. If you feel like you really need them, they're probably better juiced.
Correct. Yeah.
Or cooked,
Oh yeah, definitely. Yes. Or cooked, or like a little bit, steamed here and there. I want to see the world with your eyes. Please describe it.
Oh my. No one's ever asked me that question before.
I'm happy. Happy to hear it.
I experience the world largely as lost, like lost children. And there's a whole lot of awakening going on recently, where people are starting to see more. But I experience the world of humans has largely kind of lost not much direction, even though it's starting to change. And I've experienced myself in the world, humbly, as one of the quote unquote way showers, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that seems to just naturally come about. I'm running continuously into opportunities to share with people in some way.
Does Joshua still ask the universe? Ask the universe regarding your future, regarding changes in your life?
Yes, and I see the earth as it's still our mother. It's still the Garden of Eden. We just trashed it, but we're learning. We're learning how to treat her right, slowly. But I'm pretty optimistic, so I have a lot of hope for where the world is going.
I'm happy.
And even in some of the hardest times, I'm always open to the possibility that it will become something that many of us can't even imagine now. That's what I would like to see. And whatever my purpose is here, because my main belief is that everything we go through here largely is for two things. One, for the growth and upliftment of our soul, and two, for service to others.
Yes. What's your plan for the future, Josh?
More immediate stuff is I've been considering moving out west.
Really?
Yeah, I love the desert.
Far away from Dr. Morse's clinic.
Yes, that's true. I'm not dependent on that alone. But I've considered moving to the Southwest for a while.
Is there something that it's like excited? Are you excited about something out there, or?
Being a person of nature, I've always loved mountains.
Okay.
And also,
you miss it in Florida.
Yeah, also this sort of gets into the spiritual stuff just a little bit. Again, I feel a pull that way. I feel a calling that direction. And it feels more like home in a number of ways than Florida does. Mm-hmm. But I've also strongly considered Hawaii as an option of residence, but it is a long way across the ocean, far from
everything is possible.
Yes.
Nothing is impossible, I should say that way.
I appreciate hearing that. I very much appreciate hearing that.
Yes. I truly believe it, because I see myself in 2017 when I had my tragic accident. I know what that was very tough too. And the thought that they were telling me that you won't be able to walk again through the rest of your life, and fantastic doctors helped me, but some of fantastic doctors didn't help with my leg, and my leg wasn't fixed correctly. Mm-hmm. So I remember myself, I was also in a wheelchair for a while, and I just didn't let my body to put me down. I tried to call my spirit and ask for help, and it happened. And it, a few years later, I'm here where I am today. So it's like, it was a long journey, but you speak to existence. So it will come to you sooner or later.
Speak it into existence, and it's really, thank you for that. It's good to be reminded every day.
Yes.
From anywhere I can hear it. Sometimes when you've been on it this long, it sort of, there are moments where I can lose a little steam until someone comes along and reminds me. That makes sense. And it's good to hear that. As far as the rest of my future goes, to answer the rest of your question, is I'm feeling called into some kind of work helping others. And I have ideas about what that is, but I'm open to whatever it ends up being, because I feel like there's more to discover in that area. But I feel like there is an opportunity and maybe an obligation for me to reach a lot of people with my experience. So I've been slowly working on writing a book. And
that's beautiful. It. So what is your book about?
It would just be the journey from a little bit of my childhood, the accident, the healing process up until present. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It might be a few more years before I have all that put together, but eventually, yeah, it feels like one of those books that needs time.
Oh yeah, definitely. Sometimes it takes years, to put
Yeah.
everything together, and it's hard to come back again to the past and explain that again and come back to the roots. What exactly happened? Because wow, that must be exciting. I will be definitely the first person who's gonna get that book from you.
One of my last goals here is to
Mhm.
find a supportive community and a lifestyle that is as sustainable as I can possibly make it.
Welcome. We are on the same
Mhm.
page.
Perfect.
It's good to know that we are actually so far away, and we still feel that energy flowing, and we still are on the same page. And it's beautiful that they give us this opportunity, that internet and stuff like that. But yeah, it's also a little bit too much sometimes of all that social media stuff and things like that. So I totally understand you. That's why I love living off grid sometimes and just disconnect, and I wish to have it more often, but I know it's impossible. Also because what we do on a daily basis, this is also my work, so yeah, it's hard, but I understand you. And the sustainability on your own land and being independent as an individual in this world, in this planet, to the order to survive in a healthy way. I think this is a must and number one in my opinion as well.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else you would like to share? I actually have one more question. That's a bonus. I have a bonus question for you.
All right.
Have you experienced any vision, like a visualization or even vision from the universe, from your God, Mother's Earth? I want to know if you still also focusing on this, and if they're still coming back to you, like this vision for the future, even, that sort of thing.
As far as healing is concerned,
Mm-hmm.
Specifically, something that came to me one day. There is a tree in, it's a tree that is a symbol in many cultures, tree of life. But this particular one was the Celtic tree of life. Or the Nordic, it's called in Norwegian, I think it's called Yggdrasil, the world tree or the tree of life. And it's this tree symbol that's in a circle, and there's the branches up at the top, and it goes all the way down to the roots, and there's all kinds of animals climbing around in it. And one day I was in a meditation and in a prayer, and I was getting into a visualization, and I wanted to feel the ground. So I see myself whole, standing on a beach facing the Pacific Ocean in the wet sand. I feel the wet sand under my feet. And I put myself as much as I could in that image. And as I put myself into that image, this ring appeared around me. And above me were the branches, and below me were the roots, as if I was this trunk of this tree. Mm-hmm. And it became a meditation for me. Daily, I would just go to the window, or in the morning, I would face the sunrise, and I would just put myself into that feeling state of I have full function in my body. I'm standing in the wet sand. I can feel all of it. My arms are hanging at my sides. And it would put me into this blissful place. And I just hold on to that image. And it's a very inspiring one. It fills me with joy, and yeah. I don't know if that's what you mean by a vision, but that's where I went.
Beautiful. This is
I go.
definitely something that you can take it as a sign, and it can lead you, like it can help you with your future decisions too, because it is definitely the meaning behind it.
Well, it's something I've been studying for a while, and it's not new concepts. It's just been repackaged in a way that's cool for a lot of modern people. Is the work of Dr. Joe Dispenza, and one of the things he talks about a lot is putting yourself in the feeling state that you wish to experience, putting yourself there, and as often as you can. You see yourself already standing, see yourself already walking, feel as if you are.
But you're talking about these thoughts, and I appreciate that you talk about it, but it's also, I understand people talk about this Joe Dispenza a lot, Dr. Dispenza, but also what I think it's in us, in each and every one of us, because I never watched the doctor that you mentioned, and I never was inspired by him, but I inspired by my own journey. Like, if you know what I go, I meditate and I take inspiration for myself when I was in bed laying down and watch stuff, and I visualized myself as a walking, dancing human, jumping everywhere, and I was like, I'm gonna be dancing, I'm gonna be running and jumping, and I want to be doing everything. So and it was tough, but I made it, and I truly strongly believe that you will get there too very soon. And what I want to ask you, Joshua, because I actually skipped that question, there is one more question that I want to ask you, the last one, I promise. What did you heal on this natural journey?
What have I healed?
Yeah, on fruits, fasts, herbs, on this journey, on this beautiful journey that we are both on. What did you heal so far?
I've healed constipation, rectal bleeding, edema, extreme chronic pain, excessive muscle spasticity and stiffness. What else here? I know there's more.
There's
low blood pressure, very weak adrenals.
Wow.
Strengthened that a lot. It comes back on occasion, but it's not nearly like it was.
What was your blood pressure before?
Well, let's see. My blood pressure might average, it was really low. It'd be something like 70 over 50.
Okay. Similar to mine.
Yeah. And over time, now it will average around the 80s to the 90s at the high, and over about 60 something.
Beautiful.
So it's higher. But it's also always different for someone who's sitting in a chair most of the time. But gravity is different. I'm not walking around.
But you create your reality with your mind. So this is powerful too. You know that.
Yes, I do know that. And you know what? Before I ever heard anybody talk about that, I had experiences with that as a child. It was naturally in me. I trusted those kinds of things. My own heart and intuition would create my reality, and there was an understanding that anything I asked for could come to me. And it's only actually when I became an adult that doubts and logic and all that stuff started creeping in, and it's been a little bit of a battle over time to come back to that more childlike faith and understanding and knowing, and that knowing is in there. And it's getting the mind out of the way for me sometimes, or turning it around and using the mind as a tool rather than letting it run me, so to speak. And I feel like I didn't answer all of your question.
Yeah, about healing.
Yes.
That's all. What do you wanted to share about healing?
On the physical, yeah, that's been most of it. Energy, of course, too. Energy
also
levels.
Movements, right? You do
movements, yes. So I became much stronger in my upper body. I do my own yoga on a mat. I do a lot of stretching exercises, and people are like, how can you do that when you're paralyzed? But there's a way to do it.
You're amazing.
I have to make a video about it sometime.
Oh, please.
And so keeping the body flexible that way is important for me as well as maintenance. I've improved my lung function a lot over the years. So I listed a lot of the physical things, and then internally coming back to trusting myself, coming back to loving myself, coming back to knowing that I am enough for myself and others around me, that I'm a worthy individual, connecting me to what I call my beloved, which is a form of God that I appreciate very much, that is like a best friend for me, and a releasing of excessive or like old baggage, grief, all the things that I used to hold on to that used to affect me intensely. Many of them are gone or very light at this point.
Beautiful.
So a gaining of self-awareness, getting to know myself, really know myself.
Beautiful.
So that's
I let myself to add something else that you shared with me personally recently, that you also clean up your head area.
oh yes.
Your upper circulation is definitely way better than it used to be.
Yes, so that's another aspect of it. When I first got deep into watermelon fasting or watermelon cleansing, I found that watermelon was one of the most powerful fruits for clearing my head. So along with an herbal protocol, I had chronic ear infections and scarring in my ears when I was a child and a teenager. We had a lot of dairy growing up, so I was very congested. And over time, that watermelon was really breaking down the mucus, and grapes were helping, and the herbs, and I experienced some intense, like cold and flu-like symptoms, aching in the face and draining and soreness in the neck and draining of my ears.
Oh, wow.
But my hearing improved quite a bit, and yeah, a lot of good things happened for my head.
I'm happy you brought that up, because this is important as well. The head area and things connected to the GI tract, because everything is connected, right? Like you are
Absolutely.
Your head is what your bowel is, colon is.
Two of the biggest, most important factors for me was cleansing my bowels and getting my kidneys filtering, hydrating the lymph system, getting the kidneys filtering. My kidneys started filtering intensely, actually, before I even knew what it was. And I was like, why is all this powdery stuff in my urine? Like, is there a lot of minerals in the water I'm drinking? Yeah, I was worried about that. And I finally, when Dr. Morse started talking about filtration, I had a big aha moment. And I realized, and interestingly enough, at that time, it was essential oils that had helped get them filtering. I had been taking this intense essential oil treatment, and
so good for you.
That's something you have to be careful with too at times, but it's definitely helped me a lot.
Oh yeah, they are very powerful. And
but if you want to move anything else, move those bowels first. Get all that stuff out and get those kidneys opened up.
Yeah, thank you for that advice for everyone. That's amazing. I'm happy you shared that on your experience, because everybody's experience is different, and this is beautiful that you share that with us. I appreciate that a lot. And
I think the one small thing I'd add is just that this has been a really nice conversation just to motivate me to go even deeper.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I'm happy. I'm blessed that I could meet you and talk about your journey, because we are here, we are one, and I want to just help you to also to not let you. I don't want to let you, never think of giving up. Like there's no even you can't.
Thank you.
Yeah,
All right.
yes.
All right. I have to take that out of my vocabulary.
Yeah, there is no word like this. Like you can say like, I won't give up. I will show you opposite, what I can achieve to prove myself. It's not only about others. It's it's about you and
I
yourself.
want to prove it to myself. Yeah.
Yeah. And you have so much things to do in this world that you really want to be capable to do it as soon as possible. And I truly believe that my suggestion, that if I can share with you, if you don't mind, I was always falling asleep with the thought of me being happy, jumping everywhere, and running and singing like, little girl and the meadow. And just seriously all the time I was thinking that way. And that me on that wheelchair thought, I always was like, no, push it out of my mind. Like I was like seriously running away from that thought. And I was creating me. Like, no, this is me. This is and that was just the beginning of my journey. I didn't know that I have to go through 4 more surgeries to achieve that. But I thought that way all the time. And my mind, because of my mind, I won. Because and my mom is also a very positive person, so I'm pretty sure I got it from her. But without her support I don't know if I would keep going, because she gave me that happiness and positivity. So now I feel like I should give that positivity and share that with others as well. And if you even feel a little bit down one day, please think that no, there is no way, like this stuff doesn't exist. This is just you are just I always was saying that this is not me. They just put you in this body temporary because you need to help this person now thrive, in order to be back. You know what I mean? Like to be even deeper. I don't like to say higher because it's like it's about ego, but to be deeper who you used to be. So you will be, at the point in your life where, wow, that will be a bomb, but that will be a beautiful power and feeling. And I wish you all best if it comes to your path. And I truly believe, I know that we do in the interview next year, and you'll see next year, you will be like, whoa, look what happened to me. Like, and you may be amazed, where did you get to? But you just need to eliminate that negativity. And I really, in the worst situation, you can find so much positivity. This is the most beautiful, and that a lifestyle is definitely helpful. So
I very much appreciate your encouragement, and I'm going to make an effort to do that type of visualization you were speaking of. Regularly.
Please. And every time there's one more thing, what I always say when you are around negative people that tell you something different. I probably think you have a lot of beautiful people around you, spiritual individuals, but there are also not nice energies around. And what I always do when I am around these energies, I create a bubble around me, and I'm imagining myself like I'm in the bubble, and there is a green color and white color covering my body around, so nothing can actually hurt me. Even when I'm passing 5G, let's say, or something, others like attacking, being bombarded by social media and stuff like that, I create that bubble, and this what helps me to protect my body, mind, and spirit from absorbing all that crap, all that negativity. And this is another thing that I just create my world, and that bubble I also create in my mind when I meditate. So you can put in your bubble anything you want. You can put your health in there and just wait till it happens, you know, like, and create
Yeah.
your own world, your own spiritual home that you want to create, right? And
Yes, that is beautiful. I do something much the same.
beautiful. I'm happy to hear. Thank you, Joshua, for being here today and sharing the truth. And I'm sure you'll inspire those who need inspiration and support. And, you know, you are very strong, and you are a hero of this path, like I mentioned that before as well. And there is no doubt about it. And many people should learn from you.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be of help, be of service for sure.
Thank you so much for today.
You're most welcome.
I really enjoyed this conversation with you. Have a wonderful day, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that video, and please support us by sending us love and nice comments below, and spread the love and follow the truth and trust the nature. Sending you lots of light. Namaste, mahalo, peace is Bogam.
Getting this out at the root, like this here, get my thumb inside there, where they're connected to the wall of the fruit on the bottom, is challenging, especially for my fingers. That spot where they're attached at the bottom.
Are you going to rinse these after?
Oh yeah, because they're all going to be rinsed very well.
Can I try the next one?
Oh yeah, you can peel this one out. You have to hold it still, because there you go.
Wow. Yeah, and you only need this, what's inside, right?
Right, there's a seed inside that I pop out of each pod, because that's a whole pod right there.
Cool. Here.
It's sticky, you know, it's
Yeah.
got this natural latex. So which is why I'm rubbing coconut oil on the hands.
So are these the same of what you pop out?
Yeah, that's an empty pod.
And you'll use this thick yellow part, but not the peel, which here are some remnants of it.
Right,
The inner
yeah.
peel, it seems.
The thick yellow part is the part that tastes like fruity-licious gum.
Definitely need 2 hands for this.
Definitely, unless you use your teeth, which
Right.
you don't want to do for others, but I can do it for myself.
And this too, huh?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, that's like a quarter of one that got cut through with the knife.
this is what you use to cut it open.
Yeah, so this is called jackfruit, and some people like it, some people don't. When it's green, you can do a dish that is like pulled pork, because it has the same texture when it's peeled apart in a certain way, and you spice it up, and you can make pulled pork sandwiches basically using this fruit if you don't want to eat meat. Yep.
What's in that yellow bowl over there?
Oh, that's coconut oil for my hands, because this kind of fruit has a sticky latex, especially in its core, and everything gets really sticky. So we put coconut oil on the blade and on the hands, so you can get stuff out easier. That's basically it.